Invite you to stand for the Vice Chancellor's procession. Directors of academic units and programs, directors of institutes, deans of faculty, the dean of students, provost college of medical sciences, the provost college of postgraduate studies, the inaugural lecturer, the Vice Chancellor's procession. The national anthem, followed by the universal. First stanza only. Chancellor requests that we remain standing to observe a minute of silence in honor of two of our departed colleagues, the late CED Director, Professor Boniface Edeglai, and Mr. Raphael Afalaba, who passed this morning and yesterday respectively. May the souls of all the departed faithful, especially those of Professor Edeglai and Dr. Afalaba, through the mercy of God, rest peacefully with God. Please sit. Capacity Vice Chancellor, a humane and compassionate leader, Professor Dabor, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Please put your hands together for the Vice Chancellor. Your Excellencies, top government functionaries here present, Your Royal Highnesses, former Vice Chancellors of our university and heads of other institutions, other principal officers of our great university, the provost, deans, directors, the inaugural lecturer and family of the lecturer, our esteemed professors emeriti, other erudite scholars in the auditorium, my lords, spiritual, greatest student staff and students, invited, respected guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the University of Benin on this auspicious event of the 358th Inaugural Lecture of the University. Please clap for UniBen. Today's lecture is by an erudite scholar, a former Dean of Management Sciences, a Professor of Accounting, Professor Eyesan Leslie Dabor. The topic, which I find quite intriguing, is the book, the cook, the crook, the hook, exhuming the wicked sepulchre of financial shenanigans. I'll now invite the Registrar of the University and Secretary to Council, Mr. Ademola Bobola, to formally introduce the Vice Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor's position. Mr. Reg.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vice Chancellor, in particular, I want to take permission and abide by the protocol as duly established by the PRO of the University, Dr. Mrs. Benedicta Yaniri. All courses duly extended. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I want to welcome us to today's program, which is a mixed grill of emotion on both sides of the coin. We know what the world is all about. The world is a place of battle. We have to just continue with what ahead. Our prayers and thoughts are with the families of our departed colleagues. It is my singular honor today to present to us the leader of this university at this moment, the 11th substantive Vice Chancellor of this university, the distinguished scholar, the professor of law, a man who has served both at the local, the national, and even beyond this country in different capacities, and has excelled in virtually every aspect of that. You should take note that he's a senior advocate of Nigeria, combining academic excellence with career excellence. Let's give our vice chancellor a round of applause. And the vice chancellor has continued to tour the trade of very distinguished and prominent Nigerians. Recently, we were in Abuja last week to celebrate one of the vice chancellors of this university at the time. The third in the series, Professor Emeritus David Adamu Baby, who passed on in December and was celebrated, was buried in December, late December, that's December 24th. But many prominent Nigerians came together to celebrate him. And by the time we were there, it was of great pride that such a man of outstanding stature had been a former leader in this place, thereby cementing the place of the University of Benin among committee of great universities in Nigeria and beyond. It is therefore let's clap for ourselves. It was an occasion when that particular man he was being hijacked by different places. People from Usasa, people from Zaria, Kano, Lokoja, Ogun State, Nasarawa, even Benin were claiming that he actually belonged to their own land. So it took General T.Y. Benjamin, who was chairman of the occasion, to moderate that particular event when many people were claiming him. He was actually an outstanding person. And standing in that place today is Professor Dabor B. Omoege, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, at their license. We have with the Vice Chancellor on the center right today, Professor Christopher Osobo, Deputy Vice Chancellor at the institution. The Deputy Vice Chancellor of Ekenwa Campus, Professor William Ainde. Remarkably, Professor Beki was said to have moved from Ekenwa Campus to Ugowa Campus, where we are. And we used to have two other campuses. And then he planted this place, well planned, along with the dream of the founding fathers of this university. Today we also have the custodian of money, the bursar of this university, Mr. Osifo, the bursar of this university. Please let's give him a round of applause. We have the only Cinderella among the principal officers, so that we can be gender balanced to some extent. He's a distinguished professor of library science and the current university librarian, Professor J. Abba. Recently, we received a letter from a very prominent university in Nigeria talking about postgraduate studies and seeking that we should send some of the candidates to them so that they can build their college. Coincidentally, we are building a college of postgraduate studies in a very remarkable way. And we have the provost of that college, who is the pioneer of that college, a man with several experiences of managing different sections of the university, having served as Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic at one time and Dean at another time too. Professor David Izeko, Provost of Postgraduate Studies. The Dean of Student Affairs, we call him Baba Iwe. Baba Iwe means the father of all the children in this world. He is leading a very dynamic, factful students, over 50,000 of them. Professor Freddie Ekaifu, the Dean Student Affairs. have with us today also the host dean, who is also the acting dean of that faculty. Fortunately, she's a lady, so we can be sure that rice and stew will be very plenty at the end of the event of today. Professor Mrs. E.R. Ebairo Osari. I think we should give her a round of applause. It's not easy to be a professor, to be a woman, to combine all of those, and then being the dean of our inaugural lecture today, who had been the former dean of that same faculty. We have also represented the Dean Faculty of Agriculture, Dr. O.M. Wangoji. The Dean Faculty of Arts, Professor Eyesan Osadolo. The Dean School of Environmental Sciences is represented today by Dr. U.O. Idemujia. The Prof. Dean Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, Professor Mercy Okaku, Marcel Okaku. And of course, we have the Dean, Project Dean, Faculty of Computing and Information Science, Professor Mrs. V.V.N. Akukuma. The Acting Dean School of Dentistry, Professor Mrs. Joanna Anabule. The Dean Faculty of Education, brand new Dean of that particular faculty, erstwhile Director of Sports, Professor Elvis Akolahan Sosebe. We have the Dean of Faculty of Environmental Sciences, represented here by Dr. Jeff Wodo. We have the Dean of our Vice Chancellor, who can call the Board of Studies at a particular time and make sure that everyone is present, including the Vice Chancellor himself, even at 12 midnight. Professor Bazwai, Bright Bazwai. Please let's give a round of applause. We have the Dean Faculty of Life Sciences, and of course, somebody we also identify with at this time, because the late professor is also from that faculty. Professor T.O.T. Ibobe, Dean Faculty of Life Sciences. We have the Dean School of Medicine, being represented by Professor N.O. Enaruna. The Dean Faculty of Nursing Science, not Professor Mrs., is Professor Mr. F.U. Okafo. We have the Dean Faculty of Optometry. Well, maybe we still have to continue along that line. But actually we have with us the Dean Faculty of Pharmacy, Professor Godao Ibe. And then we have the Dean Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor J.I. Mbegu. The Project Dean Faculty of Science and Laboratory Technology, Professor J.O. Osanwese. And then we have the Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor Omori Osunde, the only Dean and the only faculty. It is only him who can tell you the full story behind all of those. The Dean Faculty of Vocational and Technical Education, Professor Mrs. E.E. Uko Abiel. Thank you for the cameraman picking them. In those days, we were not picking them. Let's say that those who have not seen yet believe. We have with us today the Director Center for Distance Learning, Dr. Mrs. Akon Ebioware. Please, let's give her a round of applause. And we have with us today the Director, Intellectual Property and Technology Transfer Office, IPTTO office, Professor Solomon Omodio. And of course, we have the University Advancement and Alumni Relations Director, Professor Echi Eragwe, one-time orator and always an orator. The Director of Advanced Digital Engineering Center, ADEM, Professor R.S. Epojai. Those from management side should not be tired of clapping because we are celebrating with you today. Please, give our round of applause. Thank you. We have with us the Director of External Linkages and Internationalization, Professor Mrs. E.A. Ojiko. We have the Director of General Studies, Professor N. Ohamba. We have the Director Center for Research, Central Research Laboratory, Professor B. Ikajiagwe. The Director Step B, Project Science Technology Office, Step B Project Office, Professor Mrs. N. Kayodeojo, Acting Director Institute of Education, Professor D.K. Maxwell. And then we have with us today the Acting Director Institute of Public Association and Health Services Management, all the way from Ekema Campus, Dr. John Osagai. The Director for Center for Maritime and ICT, Dr. F.O. Woire, is also here. And then we have the Director of Consultancy Services Unit, a distinguished engineer, Professor R.O. Edofia. We have with us the Director Center for Educational Technology, Dr. Mrs. N.B. Ahawa. We have also the Director of Academic Planning, Dr. Mrs. Edeki O.M. Leading the Vice Central Secretary today is the Deputy Registrar in charge of Senate Matters, Mrs. C.I. Egiato. Please, let's give a lot of them a round of applause. At this juncture, it is my singular honor to invite the Vice Chancellor to please address this assembly. Vice Chancellor.
Thank you very much, Registrar. Very wonderful introduction. Principal officers of the University of Benin, Provost, College of Postgraduate Studies, who is not present, who is present here. Provost, College of Medical Science is not present, but it's acknowledged institution. Deans of faculties and schools, directors of institutes, centers, members of the University Governing Council, professors emerita and members of Senate, fellows spiritual and temporal, staff and students of the great University of Benin, great university students, distinguished invited guests and friends of the university. In particular, I wish to especially recognize a very distinguished Nigerian and Israelite, former secretary of the state government of Edo State, former chief of staff of the government of Edo State, my learned friend, senior brother, Pastor Osagi Izeyamu. Also wish to especially recognize my learned brother, Inaba, my dear brother, Kingsley Obabogie, senior brother of Nigeria, and also in the audience, my dear brother and friend, I was the best man at his wedding. Right Honorable Paul Obama, dear President. Gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great delight I welcome you all to the 358th in the inaugural lecture series of the University of Benin. Today's lecture is the 12th to be delivered in the Department of Accounting. It is the 17th in the Faculty of Management Sciences. And the 29th to be delivered in my tenure as Vice Chancellor of the University. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our lecturer for today. He is Professor Eyesan, Dabor. The title of his lecture is quite intriguing as remarked already by the publication officer. The book, the Crook, and the book, Exhyming the wicked of financial shenanigans. Professor Dabor was born exactly today, 56 years ago. On the 22nd of January 1970 in Surulere, Lagos, the family of late evangelist Benin, David Dabor, and Mrs. Florence Dabor of Bapere, Eyesan, local government areas, West government area of Dabor State. They had his primary school education in the following schools: Lagos Progressive Primary School, Army Children's School, Patako Jos, and Army Children's School, Dalet Barracks, Kao, Kaduna, where he obtained his first school leaving certificate. He then attended St. Joseph's College, Bon, Plateau State. He obtained his West African School certificate in 1986. So Dabor gained admission into the University of Benin. He obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting, graduating in the 7th Upper Division in 1996. Participated in the one-year mandatory National Youth Service in Salvation Commercial Secondary School, Amufu, Enugu State from 1996 to 1997. In his quest for more knowledge, Professor Dabor obtained the following additional degrees from the University of Benin: Master of Science in Accounting in the year 2000, a doctorate in Accounting in the year 2013. Professor Dabor joined the service of the University of Benin as graduate assistant in August 1998 in the Department of Accounting and rose to the rank the position of professor in October 2016. There some administrative positions within and outside the University of Benin, such as representative of the Faculty of Management Sciences, Teaching University, the UAB, Board in the year 2015. He was head Department of Accounting, Banking and Finance, Delta State University, Hawaii Campus, 2016 to 2017. Was Deputy Vice Chancellor at Michael and Cecilia University, Abaroto, Delta State, 2016 to 2019. He returned back to he was also Dean, Faculty of Social Science and Management Sciences at the Michael and Cecilia University, Abaroto, Delta State, 2018 to 2019. He returned back to the University of Benin to be elected as Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, University, between 2021 and 2023. He was also appointed Chairman, Housing Committee of the University of Benin, 2021 to 2023. He was also Chairman of the Ad hoc Committee, to investigate allegation of malfeasance in the Senior Staff Club of the University in the year 2022. I have been chairman of the Endowment Committee of the University of Benin in the year 2022. He was chairman of the Business Subcommittee of Senate at the faculties of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences between the year 2022 and 2023. Professor Dabor belongs to the following professional bodies and institutions. Namely, he is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, that's the Eyesan, and then also a member of the American Accounting Association. He has successfully supervised 10 PhD theses. I won't talk about that. That's the money. Several master's dissertations and undergraduate projects. He has published over 50 academic papers in five books in chartered in book publications, articles in peer-reviewed journals, and served as external examiner, assessor, resource person of federal, state, and private universities. Has also served in many accreditation panels of the National Universities Commission. Has attended several local, national, and international conferences. Professor Dabor does consultancy services to a number of small and medium-scale enterprises, and for SABIC and MBE Perfect companies, which are private organizations. He's also a resource person for the Lift Above Poverty Institute and for harassment conduct. So Dabor hobbies are chess, basketball, table tennis, writing, of course, and reading. He's a devout Christian and zonal pastor with the Redeemed Christian Church of God. He belongs to 13 headquarters. Professor Dabor is happily married to his beloved wife, Dr. Mrs. Dorothy Obiwa Dabor, who is a senior medical doctor health center here, University of Benin Health Services Department. The union is blessed with his children. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite Professor Eyesan Dabor to deliver his inaugural.
Especially celebrate the Vice Chancellor, University of Benin, Professor Dabor sorry. Thank you for the privilege to deliver this inaugural lecture. I should have delivered it last year. Thank you again for giving me the privilege to deliver it this year. Last year I lost my brother. So I couldn't really get myself clear. Thank you for your second approval. I'm very grateful. The Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, the Kenwan Campus and admin, the boss of the university, the librarian, the Provost College of Postgraduate Studies, Provost College of Medical Sciences, deans of faculties and schools, directors of institutes and centers, members of council, professor emeriti, and members of Senate, my lords, spiritual and temporal, staff and students, distinguished invited guests, friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to present to you the 358th in the inaugural lecture series of the University of Benin here in Edo State, Nigeria. The title of my inaugural lecture is The Book, The Cook, The Crook, and the Book, Exhyming the Whitest Sepulchres of Financial Shenanigans. I'd like to dedicate this inaugural lecture to the Almighty God who raised Professor Eyesan, a real academic, a pure academic, who ended up the chief economist of the African Development Bank. The man has stayed for a decade during my studies. And of course, to Mr. Osagio, a classmate of mine who supported my education. I was literally going to school from their house for the whole session. I've also given me a healthy family of 5 Ds. My wife Dorothy, my first son Daniel, Diamond, David, and Dominion in that. I'm a professor of accounting by prophetic and scientific directions. I was actually a pure science student. I did physics, chemistry, biology, and I was an A student on everything. But my father was a pastor, and those days we attended the Bible lecture. So when you want to do anything, you consult a prophet. So when we consult prophets, not one, many, and all of them said I should read accounting amazingly. And you know what amazed me? I had a career master from Scotland. His name is Mr. Butler. He took my results from year 3, to year 5 and analyzed them. And in my form, he wrote course to take, he chose accounting. I was shocked. So I had no argument about this, whether by statistical analysis or prophetic revelation. I'm an accountant. I'm a product of the best brains in this university. When I came into this university, we had big names. Professor Emeritus Bob Osaze was my teacher. Professor Anao was my teacher. Professor Emil was my teacher. CC Okojo was my teacher. In fact, I traversed all of economics, business, and accounting in a bid to get a master's degree so I can do a PhD. In those days, it was so difficult to get a PhD degree in accounting. In fact, it was only offered in Unilag and ABU's area. So I wanted to go through economics, through business, it didn't work. I wanted to go through economics, it didn't work. But thank God, he opened the door for me to eventually get the PhD in accounting. And I've also produced professors. All right? I thought our dean, the acting dean, was my student, and I'm sure she knows I played that. I also thought my HOD, my current HOD. So life is one now. You can see that you need to be really good. If I wasn't good to them, maybe they would be here today. In my first missionary journey to get a PhD, I went to the University of Lagos because I told you it's only ABU's area and you like to do PhD. But my journey to Lagos was not pleasant. Even though I buried myself in the 24-hour library of that university. For 3 years. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get a PhD. Not for lack of cerebral capacity or savvy, not for lack of dedication. The reasons were too mean for me to disclose here. It's unfortunate. But having buried myself for 3 years, I did not resurrect with scars of crucifixion. I resurrected with accounts manipulation as a discipline. I read the paper by Solo and Rating 2004, and I had a clear understanding of that area of study. That was why I came out of the University of Benin, and eventually Emeritus Professor Bob Osaze and my academic father, Professor F.Y. Zedome, they took me on, and I graduated here with a PhD. These are the contents of my lecture. They are here displayed. By way of introduction, if I ask you now which is the greatest invention of mine, you are probably going to say AI. But I can tell you, if you look deep down, the greatest invention of man is the limited liability company. Because without the limited liability company, there's no Google, there's no Meta, there's no Toyota, there's no company. The companies that run this world are limited liability companies. It dichotomizes the relationship, dichotomizes the ownership and management of productive resources. In this way, we can raise huge amount of capital from across the world. Different people, different tribes, different clans can come together to raise huge capital, and then the risk will be low. I checked Zenith Bank's annual report for 2005, and I found that the capital of Zenith is 1.4 trillion. No one person can raise that kind of money to do business. But with a limited liability company, they have over 600 shareholders, and so the risk is spread. All right. With huge capital, business can take huge risks and make unimaginable returns. Capital is the amount you are willing to lose to succeed in business. To guarantee the safety of this capital for absentee owners and ensure that the managers of these resources do not act opportunistically, there's a need for these managers to report on their stewardship of these resources. Since the owner is not there, and I'm giving you my money to do business, you need to account to me. Accounting provides the means for this stewardship. It helps the manager to discharge his stewardship. And one area that does that is the financial accounting and reporting. It is in this area that I situate my inaugural lecture, and it is in this area I did the majority of my work as a researcher. This lecture is important because what I'm saying is at the crux of economic growth and development. The nations of the world that are leading economically, they are leading through companies. If the managers of those companies manage those companies, then they won't have economic development. And when the Crook induces or coerces the Crook to cook the books, beat the book and resist the exhumation of the whitest sepulchres, then corporate failure will be inevitable. The consequence of cumulative corporate failures will be underdevelopment and economic retardation, such as we have experienced in our country. If the company, it's not about government. If the companies are doing well, because the companies that will produce the goods and services, manufacture them, generate the taxes for the government to spend, and even employ the households. So the company is key to economic development. So what is financial accounting? Simply put, the stewardship accounting. It deals with the financial history of the business. And this tells us why we are here, why we are where we are, and how we got here, and what to do to get out from where we are if we don't like the place. And of course, it is only fools that will not learn from history. And that's why the philosopher George Santayana says, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to relive it. History is powerful, and accounting provides the financial history of the business. Soloway and Brady in 2004 defines account manipulation as the use of management's discretion to make accounting choices or to design transactions so as to affect the possibilities of wealth transfer between company and society, and of course between company and funds provider, or between companies and managers. Simply put, the reason why people manipulate accounts is because they want to move resources from the company to certain interests illegally, right? Or maliciously. Now when I talk about the book, I'm actually talking about accounting. Accounting is a secret, it's a mystery. I am telling you, if the books are kept, there is no way you can cheat. If the books are properly recorded, we can trace your fraud. What is accounting there? Accounting is the generic nomenclature for service activity that involves gathering data, processing the data into information, and analyzing the information for decision-making about allocation of scarce resources. Wherever we have scarce resources, you need an accountant there. Whether it's for profit or not for profit, you need an accountant there. Dabor and Dabor 2022. In this area of financial accounting and reporting, I did some work. Alright? I looked at Human resource accounting, in this place, we're trying to develop a model of assessing the value of human resources. Because the issue with human resource accounting is we say human beings are the most valuable assets we have, yet we don't put them as assets on our balance sheet. The problem is because of the difficulty of measurement. However, I try to build a theoretical model. I use the concept of replaceability, retainability, developmentality, and versatility to construct the model. In other words, if an employee is easily replaceable, his value is low. If he's more retainable, his value is high. If he's more developed, his value is high. And if he's versatile, his value will be high. In the area of corporate governance, I related corporate governance to certain variables like accounting quality. When I say accounting quality, I'm talking about the reliability and the relevance of accounting information. And of course, I also related corporate governance to performance, basically profitability, and I related corporate governance also to failure, corporate failure. In all these studies that we did with Adeyemi, with Ibadan, and with the seminar, and Tijan, what we found is simple. If corporate governance is effective, or if governance is effective, then the financial reporting quality will be high. If corporate governance is effective, companies will do well. And if corporate governance is effective, we will prevent failure. Corporate governance also, we looked with disintegrated corporate governance based components, audit committee and board characteristics. And we found that an active board, where there is regular meeting, improves financial reporting quality in Nigerian banks. While board composition matters negatively and board size and expertise have no significant effect on the reporting quality. As for earnings management, what is earnings management? It is the manipulation of accounts within the accounting rules. Alright? And if you have effective corporate governance, we will limit that kind of occurrence. I also had studies in corporate performance and related corporate performance to corporate social responsibility. The whole idea is that if your company is doing well, if your company is not affecting its environment, that company has no legitimacy. It will eventually come. Alright, so there's a positive relationship between corporate performance and corporate social responsibility. And of course, we also related to capital structure and corporate tax avoidance with OVO and with Dabor. We also looked at the area of value relevance. You know, the whole idea of providing a financial statement is to produce financial information for capital markets. When I say value relevance, I mean that the information we produce, does it affect share prices? If it affects share prices, then our information is value relevant. Alright, so I and Ibadan and Ibadan, we looked at the value relevance of accounting information, and we found that accounting information is value relevant to stock market prices. What is the implication of that? It means that if these statements are manipulated, the share price will be disclosed is false. And allocation of resources will not lead to development. Resources will be misallocated since you are misinformed. Right? Of course, with Eyesan from what we do, we did further research. We also did researches in tax and auditing. Generally, in tax, our conclusion is that if the auditor is independent, if it's not manipulated, either by the huge audit fee he's getting from his client or by regular changes of the auditor, then of course the audit quality will be high. In other words, we'll be able to dictate from his statement and foul play. And of course, we looked at if the audit firm is also large, a large audit firm like the Big Four right now, they can easily they can be independent and they can do a good job on the audit. Of course, I, together with Adeyemi and Ohala, we found that the multiple directorship and protection of non-office service will affect audit quality because these variables will affect the independence of the auditor. Other tax research we did with OVO in 2019 and 2020, Emmanuel, Dabor, and Agri also in 2024, we found out different components of tax revenue interact with foreign direct investment in different ways. In other words, our tax policies matter for attracting foreign direct investment. Conclusive. That's the cook there. He's smiling right now. I'm cooking the books. You know when you are cooking the books and the book is done, you'll be smiling. But suddenly the book comes forward. And then you will know that what you were doing was wrong. But while you are gaining from the cooking, it looks like nothing they happen. The Institute of Accountants of Nigeria, our great institute, says you are a professional accountant if you have done the prescribed educational training and you are admitted as a member of a recognized professional body and you are authorized to practice accounting in accordance with relevant professional and ethical standards. That means that the professional bookkeeper is the unprofessional professional accountant. Accounting scandals are rarely a result of ignorance. They are more often the outcomes of professional publicity. Circa 2009. In major accounting scandals like the Aaron's case, I'm sure you know about the Aaron's case. Aaron is an engineering company audited by the best accounting firm those days. Automatically made his name during the Great Depression. When companies were going down because of the integrity of automatism, all the companies that automatism audited, they stood out. They didn't fail. That's how they made it. But in 2000s, when they got into this manipulation of accounts, the company crumbled. I don't think any of these new students in accounting will know the name automatism. In those days, that's the company we want to enter, but it's not non-existent because of cooking. But while you're cooking, you'll be laughing. But suddenly, anything can happen. You are not safe. Alright, Dabor and Dabor 2017, observe that the moment the auditor is not independent, the moment there's frequent change of auditors, it becomes easy for the accountant to cook the books. I don't want to teach you fraud, but for the sake of this lecture, let me show you how we manipulate accounts or how accountants do it. We have what we call profit statement and what we call balance sheet, and many of you will know that. Now, your profit statement, there are two variables there: your revenue and your expenses. If you want your target profits to be high, you overstate your revenue. There are many ways you can do that. And then you understate your expenses. Suddenly, your profit is so big. Alright? And that kind of thing happens just to show that you are doing well, until you can attract funds and all other benefits of your performance. Of course, there are times where people want to understate their profits. Why? Majorly for tax reasons. Alright? Somebody gave me an account and the account ran into billions, and he says he wants to pay tax on profit, and I said I can't do it. But I can do it. I want to do it. I can help him do it. Alright? So you understate your revenue in this case and overstate your expenses, and you get what you are looking for. And by the way, you may not do it illegally. I'm coming to that. It may not be illegal. Through your savvy and your experience. You know, a lawyer always say case, not because the case is there's truth. It's the way you argue the case. Am I correct? There are facts here, sir. I'm sure I'm aware of that. That you don't win the case because the other person is wrong. You win the case because I argue your case. This thing is correct. So when they say you should go to school, don't say scam. Because they will scam you. Alright. The scheme B is where you try to manipulate the statement of financial position or balance sheet. What do? Understate the asset, overstate the asset, understate the liabilities. You have a high net worth. Why do you need high net worth? Because capital is what drives the capitalist economy. When you have strong capital base, people believe in you. That's why people want to do that type of manipulation. But on the contrary, somebody may want to also manipulate downwards. You know why? So that they will price you cheap. The manager can decide, I want to make this company low the value. So I would say there's a problem. But the moment you sell it, the company does wow. They're like, is it not the company that says not working? There's something on something. Oh, that's a Crook. You have been waiting to see. You can see the head of the Crook is like a way for money. He's only thinking about money. Alright? A Crook is a fraudulent CEO. You know, when I was trying to prepare this lecture, I sent the title to my mentor, Professor J.C. Iron. And he said, Prof, don't shake the table so. I said, no, sir. I'm not a table breaker. Amen. Alright. Well, you don't become a Crook overnight. It starts gradually, from greed to grand lasting. The first thing a Crook does is to use aggressive accounting choices to temporarily adjust for temporary adjustment and strategic blessing. In other words, there are certain accounting rules you can play around with, and then it look like you're not doing anything wrong. But very soon, you will graduate to systematic manipulation, and finally, there will be outright application of asset misappropriation, insider dealing, and misuse of corporate resources in consonance with accounting deception. This is the psychology of the Crook. There are three things that must be together before fraud can occur. My past chancellor, sir, these three things are motivation, opportunity, and rationalization. The first thing is there must be a motive. All right? The motive will be a kind of a pressure, maybe from greed, for wealth, or for status, maybe from fear of loss of your job because they are giving you targets. If you don't meet that target, they will sack you. Or reputational damage, the desire to meet performance target, or bonus target. The moment you say performance is the base for payment, people want to manipulate performance. Is that not logical? And of course, if a company is distressed, they have a motive to manipulate so that they can show that they are doing well. All right? Of course, the opportunity presents itself where governance and internal control is weak. What weakens governance? When the executive is so powerful to override controls. All right? Where the audit committee and board members are puppets in the hands of the executives of the company. All right? Then of course, rationalization. The purpose of rationalization is to decorate the group in the regalia of honor. Some statement as the end justifies the means, everybody is a group, I'm helping the organization, provides the environment required for the crime and renames it in a way that deadens the conscience so that it can accommodate such a behavior. But more important, as I've found out personally, what empowers the group is when it takes a trip to a mortuary of psychopaths and they begin to hail him because he's producing results out of his procreation. He will think it's right and he will forget himself. And people will hail him generally because people like success. It's coming out of a brand new car, big house, and all that. Right? This is the hook that the Crook fears. This hook. According to my lecturer, Jim Obaze, the CBN investigator, he says it is important to note that institutional environment of darkness loads accountability because accounting is law in figure, history in quantitative disclosure, and surgery in interpretation. It appears that lawlessness is about the greatest business around here. And the only way to curb lawlessness is to enforce the law. The hook is the law, properly applied to deter the Crook from inducing or coercing the Crook to put the Crook. Look at the lawless. This is the position of the lawless. Look at what the lawless is trying to do. He's trying to roll what is bigger than him up the hill because very soon the law will take its course. And you see, there are two kinds of lawlessness. Lawlessness within the law. That is the most terrible one because we can't judge it. The person has mastered the art of flying so that the hunter cannot shoot him. That's what's called lawlessness within the law. It looks like the man has complied, but deep down it's not observing the spirit of the law. So, lawlessness within the law is observation of the letter of the law without regard for the spirit of the law. It's not against the law. Like earnings management, big data accounting, we have certain practices like that. They are not really against the law. But there's lawlessness outside the law. That's when you graduate to grand larceny. It means you are violating the letter and the spirit of the law. This is sanctionable. People try to avoid this one. Accounting, when properly applied, is the law required to checkmate lawlessness both within and outside the law. Of course, the moment there's corporate governance in place, financial reporting quality will increase as Sepulchres, Dabor, and the Labia 2021, Dabor and the Labia 2015, Sepulchres, Dabor and Benin 2023, and Dabor and Adiele are found. Exhyming the whitest sepulchres of financial shenanigans. The word whitest sepulchre is borrowed from the biblical literature, refers to something that appears clean and righteous and appealing on the inside and on the outside, yet conceals decay, corruption, and death. The whitest sepulchre is deliberate governance lapses, managerial opportunism, that is management behavior to satisfy their parochial interest, and ethical compromise marked by technical compliance. But there are tools for exhuming the decay. Audit is not enough. Alright? Audit tries its best, but it's not enough. We need to resort to forensic accounting techniques, robust corporate governance, ethical leadership, and effective regulatory enforcement. Here are my contributions to knowledge. The Vice Chancellor, sir, my scholarly journey has been guided by the conviction that the central objective of scholarship is not only to describe reality, but to illuminate its structures, challenge assumptions, and advance understanding. This is what I pursue in the area of corporate governance, financial reporting quality, earnings management, audit quality, and ethical accountability within the context of Nigeria and emerging markets. My conceptual contribution. My studies call for a reframing of financial reporting failure as a governance and ethical. Accounting can never fail. Very powerful tool. But the moment there's an ethical and governance challenge, accounting can fail. Through the metaphor of whitest sepulchres, my research underscores the danger of formal compliance without substantive transparency, offering a defined framework for understanding how apparently sound financial statement can conceal economic decay. My empirical contributions: number one, that weak corporate governance will undermine credibility of financial statement. Two, providing evidence that board and audit committee weaknesses encourages earnings management. Earnings management is another word for accounts manipulation. Establishing that accounting information is value relevant when governance quality is strong. Reinforcing the informational role of financial reporting. Of course, extending the literature by linking CEO and directors' characteristics of financial reporting quality and fraudulent reporting, thereby humanizing governance systems. These are technicalities. So if you're not an accountant, you may not follow me. But the point I'm making is that if you have strong governance in any institution, a governance that wants to do the right thing, you can't commit fraud. I'm telling you, you cannot. If the structures and the institutions are working, one man cannot hijack it. Alright? Of course, we have contribution to method. Our study integrates accounting-based measures of reporting quality, governance attribute, and market-based indicators. This multidimensional approach strengthens robustness and provides a more comprehensive understanding of financial reporting outcomes in the relevant countries. At the policy and practice level, beyond just theory, my work contributes to policy and professional practice by offering evidence-based insight for regulators, standard setters, auditors, and board, by exposing the limit of symbolic compliance. Listen, it's not enough to see a good financial statement. Who prepared it? Who ordered it? Who are the people behind it? We can tell by the person who prepared it whether the thing is genuine or not. We don't need to see the product. Once we see the person, we can tell. These are my recommendations. Number one, strengthening substantive corporate governance. How do you strengthen corporate governance? Remove politics from the selection of members of the board. If you do that, let us use meritocracy to select the people who will handle the affairs of the company, and you will see how the company will do well. Of course, we need to reposition the audit committee. Are you in the audit committee when you don't know nothing about auditing? Then, of course, enhance auditor independence and audit quality, ethical leadership and professional accountability. We recommend improved regulatory enforcement. And to this I say, since it's only private sector that is working, everything you give to government gets damaged almost all the time. So let's privatize enforcement. If you privatize enforcement, don't use some of those staff at Ring Road when you privatize enforcement. You there back in the wrong place. They know their money is coming from there. You will see yourself when you come and say, Am I correct? All right, so investors and public awareness. It's important for those who invest in the company to have shareholder activism. Many people just buy shares, they don't know anything about the company. They never attend any meeting. No awareness. In such cases, the directors and the opportunistically and nothing will happen. Here's my conclusion. This lecture has argued that accounting is neither sterile, neither is sterile technical exercise, nor a mere mechanical record of transaction, but a powerful social practice that reflects values, incentives, and ethical posture of those who prepare and use financial reports. By interrogating the shifting conditions of accounting from stewardship to performance management, from historical cost to fair value, and from faithful representation to creative compliance, I have shown that credibility of financial reporting ultimately depends not on standards alone, but on character, governance, and institutional integrity. I and Sadiq, we wrote a paper on IFRS use of noise. We are trying to say there that look, it's going to be noise. If there are ethical standards put in place, you can change the standard 100 times. All right? Technicality without morality equal to utility. So we need to emphasize. My scholarly journey, rooted in Nigerian context, yet globally engaged, calls for recentering of accounting on truth, accountability, public trust, so that our books of account remain sacred record of economic reality rather than creative fiction, crafted by crooks, aided by crooks, to deceive despite the book. Vice Chancellor, sir, let me first of all on this occasion acknowledge the Almighty God, without whom I can do nothing. I'm grateful to Him for giving me the privilege of life and health all my years to this point to serve this university. His grace is acknowledged unequivocally. Let me acknowledge once again our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dabor for granting me approval for this inaugural lecture. I have thought that like some of my colleagues, I won't do inaugural lecture because I'm asking myself what is the benefit of the inaugural lecture? Because at this point of my life, I should be asking for benefit, not work. I want to start. All right. I want to thank late Professor William Alele, in whose tenure I was admitted to this university. It was great being a student here. It transformed me. I can remember activism of students. Our honorable is here, all about equity. When you hear them talking, it was a great time at school. I want to thank Professor Eyesan for being instrumental in my appointment as graduate assistant. He couldn't come here because somehow I just didn't invite him on time. I thank Professor Nokora who accepted and appointed me based on the plea of Professor Eyesan. It was Professor Oji Oshodi that appointed the senior lecturer without PhD, thereby waiving for me all my sufferings. If you look at it, I did my master's in 2000 in a quest to get PhD. It took me 13 years. Yes, if you look at my CV, 13 years. So I should have been a professor maybe at the age of 39. Because I didn't do any other business. I just came straight from service and came to my master's. I knew what I wanted to do. All right? I thank him so much. Even though he's late, he did not still bless him where he is. I thank Professor Faraday Oluwese, who announced me professor. That day they were not going to announce me. Because my father was just coming. They had already prepared the words they want to announce. And I said, is there any other one left? They went to bring my one, they announced me. He also allowed me to go to sabbatical and accumulated leave, where I served as Deputy Vice Chancellor and of course as head of department in the schools I mentioned earlier. I must also acknowledge Professor Mrs. Mweti Asalani, under whose tenure I was elected Dean of Faculty. I don't like administration generally, but she appointed me and gave me some kind of recognition. For the first time I was exposed to university administration. I'm sure there are some professors who have not experienced it and they never experienced what it is to administer at the university level. I thank her so much. My father, late Evangelist Dabor, gave me the best secondary school education available in Plateau State. All my teachers, my principal was a white man, my vice was a white woman, a white man, my career master was a white man. It's only one Nigerian that taught me. So my secondary school is more universal than a university. Yes. So I want to thank my father for that. And that was why I was able to take courage and go forward when nobody was there to sponsor my education, when he was not able to. I remember the school I went to. He pushed me, St. Joseph's College. I must remember the effort of my mother. My mother is here today. I celebrate my mother. Sold that wrapper, sold that gold, so that I can go to school. I want to thank my senior, Dr. Alex is also an associate professor at the Dabor. I thank you. We did a lot of collaborative studies, as you can see. And of course, I appreciate my brother Joshua. Even though he's not here, he's a CFO in a company, and so he was not opportunity to be here. I won't forget my brother Engineer Elijah. He's all the way in UK. He's not doing babysitting, he's practicing engineering there. Mrs. Antonia Wambudike, my sister and her husband, Engineer Victor Wambudike. And of course, Femi Mende and her husband, Mr. John Mende, Deborah and Henry Dabor. I thank you all. They were the ones that mobilized to provide all the protein for this occasion. Of my spiritual fathers. Please, let me celebrate my spiritual father here. When people saw him, they said, how were you able to pull this man in? I said, the grace of God. Praise God. The special assistant to Pastor Dabor, the general assistant in the Institute of God, on administration, Pastor Dabor is here. Pastors in charge of Region 13 and 38, Pastor Amos Tubogo and Pastor Bodelo Jobe. And their wives are supposed to be here. I want to appreciate them for being here. God bless you, our pastors. Of course, I'd like to also appreciate all the way from Abuja. Abuja, Region 11, Assistant Pastor in charge of Region, Pastor Michael Olosho came on. He's my spiritual father indeed, this man. I have flown to Abuja like 3 times last year because of him. Just to go and engage his church. I thank you, sir, for carrying me along. Pastor in charge of Province 6, Pastor Agedo, Pastor in charge of Province 9, my daddy, Pastor Uyi Bazwaye. And of course, I expected that to be here. Honorable Justice Mrs. Bazwaye, thank you for coming. Pastor in charge of Province 13, Pastor Lukman. I want to appreciate. I don't know where to put my dad now. Pastor, let's say I don't know where to put, whether I should put you in the politicians or put you in the pastors. I was confused. So I said, I know you like me to address you as a pastor. So I regulated you under this hierarchy. So I'm sorry if I didn't do it right. Pastor Ezekiel is here, and of course I want to appreciate you. She's supposed to be here, but calls for duty came upon her, and so she's not. I want to thank you profusely for being here. Honorable Commissioner for Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Honorable Christopher Ewere of Benin. I told you my political godson. The only political godson I have is the only one. I appreciate your presence. May the good Lord bless you and elevate you higher. This is a decree, it's not a prayer. There's a difference. Pastor Godwin, Edward, Festus, Pastor Chris, they are my spiritual sons and my prayer partners. We pray together, and I can see the effect of your prayers on this inaugural lecture. May the Lord bless you. Trinity Sanctuary. That's my home church. Yeah, pastor in charge of vision, Pastor Amos Gogo. Abundant Life Parish, Offering Parish, Boundless Street Parish, and Latter-day Parish. I am pastor in these churches, and I'm sure many of you are here. I can't call all of you by name, but God bless you for coming, for supporting me for this time. I must thank my supporters before I conclude. I want to thank a woman that has supported me all the way, and anytime I have something to do. When I became a professor, she single-handedly celebrated me. I just walked into the place with my suit. Every other thing. Let me celebrate. I will call her real name. When people don't know me, Mrs. Vero Owojako. Mommy Vera. Thank you very much. Alright. Let me also thank my spiritual son. He's my spiritual son, but he's a general here. Real general here. A spiritual son indeed. The senior pastor of God's Own Prayer Ministry and his wife. They shocked me. But God will counter-shock you. I know that. I want to thank my friend, my brother. He's the only person I can share. I can share if he puts meat in his mouth and I'll eat. Mr. Osagi Osunde. He's a brother Jamani Ndubisi, an analyst indeed. Ikechukwu Obiako, a PhD student indeed, now a lecturer in UK. Innocent Okweki, a mentor, a mentee indeed. Deacon Iyama, a helper indeed. Deacon Sharon Oyekere, a sister indeed. Mr. Gabriel Osayawe, my dear in-law indeed. Osayawe, an in-law who is a sibling indeed. Mommy Rebecca Oyegbeda, area Ifito, a student indeed. Daudu Eugene, a son-in-law indeed. Thank you so much. And there are so many of you here, all those from there. I have people coming all the way from now my campus. Now, Dennis Osadebe University, thank you for coming. I see the registrar of MCIU. I'm so grateful to you, representing from Mrs. Group and the Vice Chancellor, 2-in-1, to come here. I'm grateful. I thank you so much for coming. I want to thank Mendes. All the friends you see, Mendes did it for me at no cost. I thank you so much. Of course, I want to thank my cousin indeed, who is an FBI. Anytime I have something all the way from US, he sends me to support me. Of course, Mrs. Mason is there, grateful to Obiaso is there. Thank you very much. All of you are acknowledged. Even if you don't hear your name, if you read my work, you will definitely see your name there. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Just for the record, we do not share food inside the inaugural lecture hall. You have to stop. It's prohibited. Before I do the synopsis, let me apologize to those who probably feel seeing the Vice Chancellor without a tie. That is my way of honoring my colleagues that passed away. Typically, in the university environment, it's for a very important event. Vice Chancellor ought to go on time. Not that I should not put this on record. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please let us put our hands together again. what he has to say. This inaugural lecture interrogates the contradictions of financial reporting through 4 images: the hope, the hope, the crook, and the hope. It scrutinizes the tension between the perception of accounting records as sacred forms of truth and their recurring adoption as tools of creative fiction and financial manipulation. The first image, the book, explores the dual character of accounting as both an unbiased record of economic reality and a socially constructed narrative open to creative accounting and end-use management. The Crook represents the accountant and the preparer who, under pressures of performance and survival, shifts from stewardship to manipulation. The Crook represents the escalation of manipulation into fraud, as typified in corporate scandals such as which we witnessed with Enron, called the Enron Corporation that collapsed in the US, World.com, and here in Nigeria, Happy Nigeria. Finally, the book implies the role of regulation, enforcement, and governance mechanisms in restoring accountability, known as institutional witnesses and ethical lapses, continue to weaken the effectiveness of these mechanisms. That advances 3 core arguments. First, accounting is not a neutral science, but a narrative practice that oscillates between faithful representation and creative fiction. Second, persistence of financial shenanigans in Nigeria reflect both institutional fragility and the profound erosion of ethical consciousness. Third, rebuilding trust in financial reporting requires stronger institutions, digital transparency, and a new professional ethics. In conclusion, the lecture calls for the exhumation of the whited sepulchres of financial misrepresentation and for a collective effort by scholars, practitioners, and regulators to reclaim the sacredness of the book. Only then can accounting fulfill its mandate as a trustworthy steward of economic reality and a pillar of sustainable development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our guests, please can we once again put our hands together. Our guests, thank you so much for coming. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Eyesan. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to decorate the inaugural lecturer as we invite family members, immediate family members, wife, and the children. I understand the mom is here. She could also join, please. And so while that is going on, I'd like to welcome especially the wife of the lecturer, Dr. Mrs. Dabor. Please appreciate her, please. And welcome the children, Daniel, Diamond, David, and Dominion. Welcome. The mother of the lecturer, Dabor, welcome you are. Welcome the siblings, Dr. Alex Dabor. I'm sure you can join the photograph. Alex Dabor into the accounting, the Edo State University here. Mr. Dabor, Director of Special Duties, Southern Delta University of Zoro. Welcome. Welcome Special Assistant to the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God Worldwide, Pastor Richard Oboshede. Welcome. Please join me to appreciate the former Secretary to the Edo State Government, Pastor Osaki Iyamu. Please put your hands together. We welcome also the Honorable Commissioner for Arts and Culture, Honorable Prince of Eyesan. Welcome, sir. We welcome Kingsley Oramoye, SAN. Kenneth Mosier, SAN. Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs at Edo State, Honorable Paul Mwambamu, we welcome you. We welcome the Chairman Nigerian Association of Medical and Dental Academics, Professor Alphonsus Isara. Welcome Professor Emeritus Raymond Eliho. Please put your hands together. Welcome Professor Emeritus Julius Katua. Welcome former acting DDC admin, Professor Maureen Ebomoyi. Welcome, ma. Welcome the Special Assistant, General Overseer, RCCG, Pastor Professor Oladele Balogun. Welcome MD Gathering Limited, Assistant Pastor Vera Oluwujako. Welcome Chairman of Local Groups, Honorable Saiti Edosoma. Welcome Pastor in charge of Province 7 RCCG Benin, Pastor Akombe Joseph. Pastor in charge of Region 13, Pastor Mrs. Amos Chubobu. I want to pray the indulgence of the Vice Chancellor to run through the script, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome Pastor in charge of Region 46. We are all RCCG, so Region 46, Pastor Michael Koromshaw, Assistant Chaplain, All Saints Chapel, Uniben, Very Reverend Dr. Taiwo Olumide, we welcome you, sir. Welcome All Saints from All Saints Chapel, Uniben, Dr. Shola Ubebo. Welcome Assistant Pastor, RCCG in charge of Province 6, Edo State, Pastor Taiwo Olayiwola. Welcome Assistant Pastor in charge of Province 7, Edo, Pastor Adebayo Adeniyi. Welcome Director Academic Planning, Uniben, Professor Joseph Senegai. Welcome Delta State University from Delta State University, Abraka, Professor Emmanuel Taruro. Welcome former DDC Ekewan Campus, Professor John Ogene, former Dean of Students, Professor Clement Rosaro. Welcome Professor F.U. Osagede. Welcome Professor Eric Omogai. Welcome, sir. Welcome Professor Tony Adejuku. Professor Mrs. Semina, we welcome you. Professor Shino Oladipupo, we welcome you. Professor Hassan, how are you here? Welcome you. Professor Chinwuba Okafor. Professor Prince Famous Zeno, welcome, Daddy. Welcome, Regional Director of Health Services, Uniben, Dr. Mrs. Carol Onwa. Former Orator of the University, Professor Mike Onwa-Garage, welcome you. Dr. John Obiasui, Professor S.O. Ibinosa, Professor Patrick Oseyomo, Professor Peter Ibadi, welcome, sir. Professor Killian Yedu. Welcome Professor, former Dean of Education, Professor Kingsley Omoro Yuwa. Welcome Professor Francis Emeni, Professor Okun Omokubu, welcome you. Professor Gideon Emmanuel, welcome Professor Emmanuel Iragbe, welcome Professor Sule Omoye, Professor Mrs. Odia, welcome you. Professor Evelyn Menezia, welcome. Professor Mrs. Francisca Ebokari, welcome you. Former Acting Director, Alumni Relations, Dr. Stephen Obeki, we welcome you. And representatives of Eyesan, Benin, and District Society. Reverend Dr. Christopher Awidi, Chairman, welcome you. Welcome Amaju Jomu, Razak Olawo, welcome, Past Chairman. Dr. Stanley West, Uwabo Eboife, Past Chairman. Deacon Olatunde Imayo Dele, immediate Past Chairman. Dr. Isaac Odia, Mr. Osage Ofipo, our University Professor. Please put your hands together. Welcome Dr. Samuel Chukwuka. Welcome Professor James Ilaboya. Welcome Professor Mr. Kebo Rogare. Welcome Mr. Mary Moji. And welcome Mr. Robert Eyesan, Senior Deputy Professor of our university. Mr. Vice Chancellor, other principal officers, distinguished ladies and And